retired back to the side of the lake. We're just waiting for our ghost hunt to pretty much start. Is 5:30, so we have like an hour to kill. I will say, for as like old-fashioned as this park is, it is definitely just kind of, it is still like nice and relaxing just to kind of like sit out here on the bench and just kind of look over the lake. I think we might go into the bar here soon though and get a drink before the ghost hunt. Does that sound like a good idea? Sounds like a good idea. That sounds like a good idea. So we just got done with the ghost tour. You're seeing this before we do the ghost tour because I want to let you know a couple things. For one, the battery died towards the end. You pretty much see all of it. I'll go over the couple things that you will miss on it. And the lighting and the angles aren't going to be the best because I kind of wanted to keep it a little nonchalant. She knew I was filming her, but like there's a whole bunch of other people, so I didn't want to like it be in everyone's face. And a lot of it was kind of dark, so there's going to be some parts where it's like kind of shadowy, and most of it's just going to be kind of like unedited, all the ghost stories. And I think a lot of stuff was interesting. So here you go.
Enjoy.
Yes, the most famous ghost story is Elizabeth, and that legend has been around for a long time, since at least the 50s. And that story goes that she was in the hotel on the night of the fire. She was supposed to be married either that night or the next day. When the fire broke out, she kept searching for her fiancé or her husband when he actually had already gotten out of the hotel. And she just kept searching and died in the fire. So that's the urban legend. It's a little bit too urban legendy, a lot of people think, the bride dying in a fire on her wedding night. There's also no historical record of anyone dying in the fire. It's possible that it wasn't reported, but since the fire itself was reported in the newspaper, it seems like if someone died, it would have been reported. So we're not sure whether that is actually a true story or not, or just an urban legend, but there are lots of ghostly activities that are attributed to Elizabeth. Lights turning on and off, doors opening and closing, water faucets on and off, fans, TVs, air conditioners on and off. So that's usually said that's Elizabeth, but there are lots of other ghosts in the hotel as well, and I'm going to tell you about them as we walk through the hotel. Two of them have been seen in this room specifically, so I'll start there. One of them is named John, and he is said to show up in pictures near the fireplace, but I've never actually seen one of these pictures. Feel free to take pictures at the fireplace, see if you can get a picture of John. Also feel free to take pictures at any time on the tour, that's fine. So John is said to know that he's a ghost and that he's just taken it as his personal mission to look out for the hotel. He just kind of stands guard in this room and by the front desk and just keeps guard over the hotel. And countless mediums and psychics that have come to the hotel all picked up John, the same name, the same description and everything. Some of them think that he might have been a hotel front desk clerk in the 30s or 40s, while others think that he actually predates the hotel and that he was killed in a duel on the grounds of the hotel long before the hotel or Conneaut Lake Park was here. And there are, lots of historical reports of Native American activity and, battles and things happening on this land, so that's entirely possible. The mediums also tend to say that John would hang around me when I was at the front desk, that he liked me, maybe because he was a front desk clerk, possibly, that he would be hanging around, he'd follow me around the hotel, and he was not only looking after the hotel, but he was looking after me while I was here too. So I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know if it was comforting or not when they said, yeah, he's standing right next to you. I was like, oh, okay. So that's John. Another ghost that's been seen in this room is a little boy that we call Michael. And he's a lost boy who's said to be looking for his mother. And for a long time, that's all I knew about him, was that he would approach guests and ask them to help him find his mother. And then one summer, there were 3 different families that all saw him and all reported on it within like a couple of week period. So some people came in here and there was a woman sitting on the couch, and behind the couch there was this little boy with dark hair, really white pale skin, and dark black circles under his eyes, and he was just crying on the floor behind the couch. And the people that had come in here thought, well, that's kind of weird, the mother's just sitting on the couch, she's not paying attention to the kid that's crying, okay. After a couple minutes, the person they thought the mother was, got up and left the room. And that's when they realized this kid was not her son, it was just some kid. So they went over to him and he said he was lost, he was looking for his mom, and he was crying. And he said, okay, I'll help you find your mom. He put out his hand to take the kid's hand, and he just disappeared right in front of him. Another couple came into this room, and they saw the same little boy described in the exact same way, the dark hair, dark circles under his eyes, pale, pale skin, crying, saying he was looking for his mom. He then went across the room, crawled up on the chair, and tried to get out the window. And they started walking around and saying, well, you can't go out the window, what are you doing? And by the time they got over there, he had disappeared. Another family reported the exact same situation, the boy going over, crawling on the chair, trying to get out the window, and disappearing. This was about like a week later that I had all these 3 reports, exactly the same. This was not in the book because I just heard these stories. I hadn't told anybody. So that's kind of the one story that gives me goosebumps. They all described him with the dark circles under his eyes, trying to get out the window and disappearing. So that's Now we're going to take a walk around the hotel. We'll stop in some places where ghostly activity has occurred, and I'll tell you about some of the other ghosts. If there's any questions, feel free to ask questions after each stop. If it looks like we're running out of time, I might cut questions short, but we should have enough time. And since we're a big group, try to crowd in close so everyone can hear and finish. So, all right, come out this way. Security guards or the police have been called because in the off season, people in these houses back here have seen lights on in the ballroom. They've heard music. They've seen figures dancing in the ballroom when no one should be in there. So they call security. Security guards come over here, check it out. Everything's locked up. No lights, no music, no people, nothing. And that's happened countless times. Also, the former hotel manager has actually seen full figure apparitions in the ballroom. So she was working one night. I don't think the hotel was open at that time. And she was walking down the hallway in front of the ballroom when she heard music coming from the ballroom. And she knew no one was supposed to be in there, so she peeked in, and she saw a man and a woman dancing in the ballroom. The woman was wearing a ball gown, and the man was wearing a tuxedo, and they were dancing to ballroom music. She said they were kind of like in a mist on the bottom, but they were fully formed people, and she actually watched them for several minutes before she tried to step into the room, and that's when they just disappeared in front of her. So that was the former hotel manager. And now if you look behind you, through here, this is the restaurant. And there's an event going on, so we can't bother them with our ghost stories. The only really troublesome ghost in the hotel is in the restaurant and the kitchen, which extends further down on that side of the stairwell. And we call him the chef or the butcher. And supposedly in life he was a crazy chef, so as a ghost he is also a crazy chef. And he is known to throw pots, pans, even knives at the employees working there. One employee reported seeing lit candlesticks floating through the air in front of her. The wife of the former owner of the hotel was in the bathroom one night. No one was there, and she heard like footsteps and chains dragging. This dragging noise coming towards her. She was in the bathroom stall, and it just kept getting louder and louder, coming up to the front of the stall, and then it just stopped. And she opened the door, and there was nobody there. Another time, they tried to get into the restaurant to open it up in the morning, and they couldn't get the door open to the kitchen. And finally, they pushed and pushed and pushed. They were able to get in, and they found that from the inside, all the garbage cans and brooms were piled up against the door, so they couldn't get in. And there's no way no one could have done that, from the inside and then left. Another summer, there was a particular window that they couldn't keep closed in the kitchen. Someone would go over and close it, they'd go back, it was open, close it, and open back up again and again. And finally they went and actually nailed the window shut, and they came back and the nails were pried out and the window was open again. We're going to head back in, up the stairs, and then, so for a long time, That's kind of all I knew about it. People would say they were walking up the stairs and would feel like they got tripped and hear the sound of little giggles, and they would think it's Angelina. But then one summer, an employee or a volunteer and her husband were walking down this hallway when this little girl on a tricycle just came down the middle of the hallway racing towards them. They said it was an old-fashioned metal tricycle. She was wearing a long white cotton dress, old-fashioned, and she had long blonde hair. They had to actually physically park so that she could get by. And then they turned around because this girl was racing towards them. They want to see what in the world she was doing, and she wasn't behind them. She just wasn't there. And they thought, okay, that's weird. There must have been a door that was open that she went into, even though they knew there were no doors that were open. And they couldn't really process what happened, and they just kind of didn't talk about it and ignored it. And then it was only later that she was reading my book, and she read about this girl on a tricycle that other people had reported. And she said that she threw the book across the room, and she called her husband and said, "Oh my God, it was a ghost that we saw. It was that girl on a tricycle." A couple years ago, someone came across a news article of a maid in the hotel, I think it was in 30s or 40s, who had filed a report that she had to take her daughter Alicia to the hospital because she had fallen down the stairs, and that she later died at the hospital of a head injury. So a lot of these ghosts in the book, the way we kind of name them is when the same name or type of name keeps coming up again and again. So how I chose Angelina, I had heard Angela, Angelica, Alicia, Angelina, Angie, like all these A names. So I just kind of chose Angelina. So the fact that the girl that had died, her name was Alicia, that could have been this girl. All right, now we're gonna head up this tiny little steep family that was staying at the hotel, and as they were checking out in the morning, their young daughter said, "Oh, she didn't want to go, she was having such a fun time." And they said, "Oh, sorry, we have to go." And she said that she didn't want to go because she had so much fun playing with her friend. And they said, what friend? You hadn't been playing with anyone? And she said, yeah, she'd been playing with this other little girl the whole time they were here, and they had been playing together on her tricycle. So now I want to tell you two particular stories about this hallway. One of them happened to me on a ghost tour, actually, a couple of years ago. So I was a little bit further down the hallway there, and I was just giving the tour, and I looked up this way, and I saw a figure go like this and look down and come back. And I wasn't really looking straight at it, so I didn't see who it was. It was just like, you know, like a dark black figure leaning in it, kind of like a shadowy thing. And I didn't think much of it. I was way at the end of the hallway, so I didn't think it was weird that it, I don't know, it didn't look exactly like a person. I just thought it was a person peeking out. And in fact, I was pretty sure that it was my friend who was also here with me and was trying to find a spot to read in the hotel. So I was sure that by the time I got up here, I would see my friend sitting here, that he had just heard us down there and he was peeking at the ghost tour. So once we got up to here, I looked, there was nobody there. Nobody could have left, you know, we were looking up this way the whole time. And I just didn't even know what to think. Here I was on a ghost tour talking about ghosts, and I didn't say anything to the people on the tour. I just kept walking. I thought, what in the world did I just see, you know? So it was only a couple years later that I started including that on the ghost tour. It just took me that long to process that I think I saw a ghost while giving a ghost tour. Another story I want to tell you is through those gray doors at the end. We're going to head down there in a little bit. I don't know if any of you have seen the YouTube video. It's just called like Hotel Conneaut Ghosts. Has anyone seen that? Okay. So there's a family here a couple, like 5 years ago or so, and they were looking for ghosts. They had a video camera. They were being goofy. They were, you know, asking if anyone was here, asking for spirits to give them a sign and stuff. And as they went down that hallway and down that stairwell, their 5-year-old son said, no, I don't want to go. I don't want to go down there. And they said, yeah, no, sure, come on, it's fine. In fact, it's not even a creepy stairwell. It's kind of weird. It looks like a high school or something. It's not older looking at all. But the son was terrified. He didn't want to go down there. So they picked him up, they carried him down. The whole time he was still saying, no, I don't like this, I don't want to be in here. So they continued ghost hunting, and then when they got home, they were looking at the video footage that they had captured, and you can see as they go down and around the corner, you see a figure of a boy. It's just completely like a dark silhouette, but you see the head, you see ears, you see the neck, shoulders as they're going around the corner. They say that it's not their son. They were carrying the son that was upset. It wasn't their child. They have no explanation for it, but I would encourage you to check out that video. It's kind of cool. It's been featured nationally on some ghost TV shows. So we're going to go down there also. Feel free to take some pictures or videos, see if you can capture something like that. So we're going to go down there and then... Okay, so this is an example of a guest room. This actually is not a typical guest room. If anyone's staying here, you'll see that this is a lot bigger. This is one of our family units. So this sleeps, I think that pulls out too, quite a few people. And you can see it's been redecorated in kind of like a 50s theme. About 10 years ago, we had a program where people could adopt a room and they could redecorate it, fix it up. So you'll actually see that every room in the hotel is decorated differently now. And occasionally they'll have open houses where you can come in and see the different rooms. So I'd encourage you to do that if you have the opportunity. I want to tell you some stories from the housekeepers because they spend so much time up in these hallways and in these rooms. They have a lot of ghostly experiences that they don't often report, but they have them. So they'll often have their keys go missing, towels go missing, things on their carts go missing. They'll often have cleaned a room only to come back later and find that it's been messed up. There was one time where the whole hotel was booked up for an event, so they had it all ready, it was ready for people to check in, and they realized that on one entire floor, all of the rooms had been messed up. All the sheets and blankets had been pulled off the beds and thrown on the floor. So they had to redo that entire wing, and they were not very happy that day. Another time, our housekeeper, Teresa, who worked here when I used to work here, she was vacuuming in the hallway. She saw, out of the corner of her eye, she saw a guy coming down the hallway. So she scooted over, kept vacuuming so that he could pass. She kept vacuuming, she just kind of noticed that he hadn't passed, he was still just standing there. So she's actually getting kind of annoyed, like why is this guy just standing there staring at me? So she finally actually stopped vacuuming and looked up at him, and she said that he was standing right there, he looked like a person, you could see all of his clothes, he was wearing a hat, but you couldn't really see his face, it was just kind of blurry. He then floated up through the ceiling and disappeared. She said it instantly got about 10 degrees warmer. She didn't realize how hot it had been when he was, or how cold it had been when he was there, and when he left, the temperature changed. She then ran down to the front desk because she was so excited that she had finally seen a ghost. Is anyone staying here tonight? Oh, a lot of people, okay. Well, you guys should know that ghostly things can happen in the guest rooms as well. People will hear knocks at their door in the middle of the night, their doorknobs rattling, hear the sound of children in the hallway. They'll get up, open the door, there's nobody there. People have seen shadowy figures walk across their room, have their drawers on their dresser open and close. A lot of people have reported feeling a pressure sit down on the bed while they're in there, or even feel like something has crawled into bed next to them. Lots of people have been either tucked in with extra blankets or find that all the blankets have been pulled off them during the night. Another time, a lady woke up in the night and it was cold. She wanted to go check on her baby, and the baby was wrapped up in an old-fashioned swaddling style that she didn't know how to do. Another time, a guy woke up in the middle of the night and his eyeglasses were floating above his head, but there were also reports that he was drinking heavily that night, so we're not sure about that. So sleep well, you guys. All right, we're going to head back out and then down the hallway that way. So that's where all those guest rooms would have been. But when it burned down, they just cut it off there. They didn't rebuild because there weren't funds during the war during that time. Okay, so we're going to go into the old wing in a couple minutes here. The old wing has not been rented out for quite a while, 10 years probably, but we have special permission to go in there. And it's in the old wing where we think Elizabeth's room was. That's room 128. It's actually on the old wing second floor, which we can't go in, but I'm going to tell you about it. It's been redecorated in honor of Elizabeth in recent years. There's old wedding dresses and old-timey stuff. It's really cool. And one summer for the 4th of July, we were having fireworks display outside, so all the people were out on the lawn out here. And afterwards, someone came in and said, "Oh, that was a clever publicity stunt you guys did, having the light on in Elizabeth's room and having someone stand in the window there." And we said, we didn't do any publicity stunt. That whole wing has been locked up all weekend.
Alright. Supposedly this hallway has some really bad vibes. Oh, I thought this was a painting back there. This is actually kind of cool. All the stuff we have down here. Creepy nut creeper. I think it's like a little.
If you guys want to go down and see the stairwell, then turn around halfway and come back up.
Just a little like sitting nook, I guess. It smells interesting. Kind of like, it smells like McDonald's. Oh. She did me a fright, Kim. She gave me a fright. Where are we going right now? Let's see. Oh, look at this old bedroom, shower and stuff. Beach Club Crafters entrance. Do we want to go down that way, or where do you want to go?
Yeah, we'll go.
Okay.
Did I see it? It was like written on there.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so that was the ghost tour. I think it was a pretty good one. It was pretty informative. She knew what she was talking about. And as we said at the beginning of the video, there's the cutoff. I mean, it was like right at the very end. I personally didn't feel anything in that hallway. She said that that last hallway was, they're supposed to, like, people feel things and stuff in there. I didn't really feel any differently, besides the fact that it smelled like McDonald's in there for some reason. Another interesting thing she said at the end, if someone asked her a question, they said, well, has anyone actually ever died in here? And she says she knows of someone that has died, but there's never actually been a report of anyone dying in the hotel.
Right.
So, but the hotel is old, so stuff could be undocumented, but, with any ghost story, you kind of have to take stuff with a grain of salt. Some of it might be true, some of it might not be. That's for you to decide. I'm a little more on the skeptic side. She's a little more on the believing side. So, I just find this stuff interesting. I like the history. I like the creep factor. That's why they do the haunted houses and stuff like that, too. But, yeah. Is there anything else you want to add, Kim?
Not that I can think of, except this bug is annoying me.
Yeah, they're kind of...
No, I mean... I would definitely check this place out on your own if you want to come out here either for the psychic fair, or they do sometimes have like open houses, or if you want to check out the haunted houses, you could do that as well. We have a review about that. I'm sure you've seen those.
Yeah, because they're not the best haunted houses, but the ambiance of the places, it's pretty good. That's one thing. I think it's definitely good at least to experience once. But yeah, just come here and walk around. And especially when like the rides aren't operating, they said they don't really have anything blocked off. There's no signs telling you not to. So I mean, like you can just kind of don't do anything, like vandalism or anything. But like you can kind of like walk up close to the rides and actually see them. And I thought that was actually cool. Let us get some good footage and stuff like that. But it's good. I think that's about wraps it up. And hopefully you enjoyed our first actual vlog. And if you like stuff like this, like it, comment, and let us know, and we'll make sure to do more of this kind of thing. We plan on it. It just helps to know that people actually like it. And now there's another cycle. See you next time.
Bye.